If you're in a situation where you are contacting and hiring an injury attorney, you've already been through a ton, and people left and right, insurance companies are hoping to take advantage of you. Are you sure that your attorney isn't doing the same? Today, we're going to look at junk fees and mysterious things that you might find in that rep agreement so you can protect yourself all the way through. Good morning, everybody. It's Jobeth Bowers right here in my new Elkton office. I want to talk about that real quick, and then we're going to get into this junk fee conversation. Our office has moved. If you're a current client, this transition is going to be absolutely seamless. If you are not a client yet, you're not going to notice this transition because you're just going to be told to come to the only office that you will have ever known, which is 103 Courthouse Plaza. We are right beside the circuit court, which is on Main Street here in Elkton. Hey, look, there's a picture of the building. Let me get on the right side of the street. We have parking up front. There's also a lot beside, and really there's all sorts of municipal parking all around. So we actually have more parking here than we did at our previous office, although we had a lot of access to parking there as well. The church behind us was fantastic. So this is where we are. Our office is actually up on the third floor, but if you're meeting with us, you're probably going to be meeting in the conference room on the second floor. If you're here in person, regardless, we're going to guide you on where to go. So if you are a current client who's used to visiting us at 229 East Main Street, that is going to change, but you've probably already been notified by whomever is handling your specific situation. So that's where we are now. And I wanted to also take this time to mention that on Friday, that is Friday, June 5th, so the first Friday in June. As you notice from the size of that building, it's a larger building. Our firm is not growing or expanding, but we are in a building now with multiple other businesses. Cecil County Sports Weekly, that weekly newspaper that covers primarily all of the sports here in Cecil County, but also a bunch of other current events and entertainment and other activities. They are here. Watchtower Insurance, who has actually helped some of those of you who have had deficiencies in your insurance from last month's contest. They have been a great referral source because they're an independent broker who writes for a bunch of different companies. So they're great to be able to give you multiple quotes. We have Margot, who is the estate planning attorney that we work with. And many of you who have watched this have probably worked with her because we used to hold out our conference space and schedule days for her to do free consults for folks. She now has her own office here in this building. So we're doing a grand opening, ribbon cutting sort of celebration, and it's going to coincide with Elkton's first Friday. So we're working with the Elkton Chamber and Alliance on this and a bunch of other businesses here in Elkton. So there's going to be a whole lot of fun stuff going on out in the streets on that first Friday. It's absolutely free to show up. I don't know exactly what everybody's doing, but we're probably going to have some giveaways, probably do a prize or a drawing for some Ravens tickets. So all of that stuff is going to be free to enter. The Greek Girls Ice Cream, they have a mobile, like an on-the-go trailer. That's going to be here as well. Again, all of that stuff for you. We'll probably do like a formal email announcement if you're a client of ours. If not, and you haven't done one of the insurance reviews at marylandinsuраncebook.com, it's time to do that. And anybody who's done that will also get an email notifying them of the event. So if you want to make sure you get that email notice and you weren't a client of ours, make sure you do the insurance review, because not only is it free, but then we could tell you about fun stuff that we're doing like this, and you might have a chance to win some tickets to an upcoming Ravens game. The schedule's been announced. That home opener is going to be against the Saints down in Baltimore. So that's cool. Let's see. Do I have anything else that I need to discuss here? Oh, the results of that insurance review contest. As many of you may remember, part of that, not just getting the insurance review, which should be super important, but entering into the drawing, which was super cool for the winner. Also, $5 from every one of those reviews is being donated to the Benjamin Hines Memorial Foundation Scholarship Fund. We did not quite hit, but we came very, very close to our goal of doing 100 of those. So we're rounding that up. We're going to be giving the foundation and the scholarship fund $500 as a contribution. So I want to thank everybody who got involved in that, because you were part of raising the bar on that. And sure, I made the decision to round it up, but y'all got us close enough that rounding it up made a lot of sense. So we'll be presenting a check to them relatively soon. There'll probably be some photos and all of that, because somebody got me to buy one of those big checks. So we'll do a big check presentation sometime soon. So thank you all for your involvement in that. And without further ado, I want to talk about today's topic, which are some junk fees that I'm seeing in representation agreements from other law firms. And quite frankly, some of them turn my stomach. And I'm not, this is not a call out moment for specific law firms, because I think that there are more law firms that do this kind of stuff that fly under the radar with it, because they come in with the situation and say, hey, I'm going to help you with this. The fee's a third, or the fee's 40%. For those who don't know, attorneys who handle injury cases, generally speaking, work off of what's called a contingency fee. So you hear this: no fee unless we win, no money up front. Those are two of the big elements to setting up a contingency fee. We are not, law firms like us are not billing hourly. We're not billing a flat rate. We're billing as a percentage of what we are able to achieve as a result for you. And we don't get paid until the very, very end when we are successful for you. It kind of solidifies the two of us working together moving forward. Now, this is where we get into where I've seen some of these junk fees. That, contingency fees have happened since the beginning of this type of representation, because most people are in an injury type of situation. And when it comes to an auto accident, you don't only have medical bills piling up, but you also have damage to your vehicle and all of this that's expected to have you out of pocket. So why dropping thousands of dollars on an attorney in the most kind of pinched situation for most people financially? Makes no sense, which is where largely the contingency fee came from. But we're seeing some things in these contracts that may or may not be legal, but they're certainly, they even if they are legal, they certainly rub me the wrong way, because the nature of the contingency fee is that I have enough faith in your situation and my ability and my office's ability to perform that I know that I'm going to get paid. I'm just not going to get paid right away. So we're going to set up this arrangement where we're kind of in this together, and that's how it works. One of the places that I have started to see spring up is that attorneys are popping in and they're putting this in their representation agreement. And this is a contract that you're signing that says, hey, there's going to be a $250 administrative fee for this, that, or the other. Why are you charging an administrative fee when you're charging a contingency fee? That's mixing a flat fee with a contingency fee, which in my mind is a no-no. You either want the risk of taking this case in this situation or you don't. Some of these I do know are very, very questionable, where they will charge you a flat fee to handle the personal injury protection portion of your claim. To me, that's really into a gray area, because the ethics in the state bar says that you're not allowed to charge a fee for handling an uncontested personal injury protection claim. If you file suit in that claim, if there's a dispute, that's one thing. But the money on the PIP side of things is kind of you present the bills or the wages and they send the check. There's usually not a big dispute. PIP is usually not a whole lot of money, so it's not worth it for anybody to dispute it. But I'm seeing attorneys that are charging fees to set this up, and I don't like it. you should be charging a fee. You should be advocating for your client. You should be really focused on, how am I going to put my client in the best situation possible at the end of this? Because it wasn't the best deal coming into it. They've been in an accident, they've been injured, they're not in their vehicle, all of these other things happening all at once. And then you're going to try to take advantage of them. Just be careful for that kind of stuff. The most recent one that I've seen, this might be the one that bothers me the most, is when attorneys advance expenses in cases, which is typical, which is normal. Where do these expenses come from? The collection of medical records, because some of these medical offices charge a fee to produce the records and to send them to you, or the bills, or whatever it is. If we need to hire medical experts, if there's a lawsuit and there's a filing fee with the court. There's a bunch of different fees that exist that are part of moving these cases forward. If we're in litigation and we need to hire doctors as experts to testify about your injuries, that's an extra fee. Being reimbursed for those fees is standard. Being reimbursed for those fees is typical. But what I've started to see recently that I really don't like are law firms that are tacking on interest to those expenses. So now, in a situation where, because of the nature of the contingency fee, I win, you win, when you put interest, or when you're subject to interest on your expenses, now there's a clock that's ticking. Now, the longer the case takes, and it's not often a ton of money, but the longer the case takes, the more money that's going into the lawyer's pocket, or that's going out of, more importantly, the client's pocket. Because I know where some of these interest things come from is that the attorneys have a line of credit with a litigation funding company, and they're just paying that interest. But if you're in the contingency fee business, you should be comfortable bearing that risk. That's my opinion. That's what I signed up for. And I'm putting this out there. This isn't I'm not poo-pooing attorneys for doing what they're doing. You do you. That's your choice. This podcast is for clients, injured folks, prospective clients. If you're out there shopping law firms, take a deep look into it. Make sure there's not an interest-bearing expense clause in there. Make sure there's not a junk fee that says, and you want to see what these junk fees look like? Go open up your electric bill. Go open up your electric bill and see the line item of what I would call, and most others would call, junk fees. You're already getting it from the electrical utility. You don't need to get it from your attorney when you're in a poor position. I know I'm going to get some heat from this. Attorneys are going to hate me for saying this, but in reality, the only person I care about in this entire transaction is my client, is you, the person who's watching this, who's getting this information. I don't want you to be taken advantage of, okay? I subscribe to a philosophy that pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered. And I know that most of you out there think that attorneys are swine, so the analogy kind of fits. Do the job. Get paid for the job that you do. You're not a bank. Stop charging interest for something that you should be doing anyway. But again, I didn't want to make this a call out attorneys. I want this to be more of a lookout for this. Make sure that this stuff is not in a representation agreement. There are a ton of qualified attorneys out there. You don't need the ones that are charging you the junk fees, no matter what they look like. Anyway, that's all I have for now. Mark June 5th on your calendar, please. It's a free event. Come out. Visit us at the new office, whether you're a client or whether you just hope that, hey, I'm learning more and more about how to be a careful driver so that maybe I'm never a client. I want you to want to never be my client, because I don't wish these injury situations on anybody. Trust me, I've seen a lot over my years of doing these, and there aren't very many of these scenarios that I would wish on to anybody, no matter how much money we're able to get for them. So that's all I have for this week. Next week is Memorial Day, so we're not going to be doing a podcast. Depending on my mood, maybe I do one next Tuesday. We will see. But next Monday, no podcast. Check out the grand opening and the ribbon cutting. If you have questions for the podcast, always email info@bowerslawmd.com. Make sure you mention that you want the answer to your question addressed on the podcast. Otherwise, I might just answer the question. We got a lot of stuff coming up in the pipeline for episodes in the future. But if you missed any of the previous episodes, navigate over to bowerslawmd.com. Up at the top, you can click that button that says podcast. You do that, it's going to give you a whole list. I believe it's even searchable to find any topic that you might be interested in. I'm thinking about another contest. I want to give things away to those who are watching the podcast here, who are learning this information. And I'm thinking about putting together an information. This is going to be super boring. The only person who's going to care about this is me, but there's going to be a prize at the end of the tunnel. But there's going to be some sort of an informational scavenger hunt, maybe using the website to really force you to go learn things that are important for you, with a great prize at the end. So we'll see if we can put that together. That's all I have for you. We went a little long today, but I had all that housekeeping stuff about the new office and the grand opening and ribbon cutting and all that fun stuff to cover there. So until not next week, but the following, be safe, be well. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.